The Uckfield Picture House. It was founded on 1916 and has been running for over a century. In this documentary, Kevin will be giving me a tour of his cinema, and I'll be interviewing him, asking him some questions about what is it like owning a privately owned cinema, and how has the cinema changed over its century period?
Hello, Kevin.
Hello.
Nice to meet you.
And you, sir?
I'm just going to ask you some questions.
Sure.
About the cinema. So, as technology has progressed over the last century,
Yes.
how has technology in the cinema changed on how it operates within?
The biggest changes were obviously the coming of sound in the late 20s. And then really, other than improvements in sound reproduction technology and colour print film and better quality emulsions, things didn't really change significantly, but basically it was a film strip running at 24 frames a second going through a projector, and it was that for 100 years. The biggest change has come more recently in the change from film to digital, when we basically, in fact it was the biggest seismic change in cinema exhibition since the coming of sound. Required every cinema in the world to change their projectors from film-based to digital-based.
Were there any times where the cinema had a risk of closing down?
Well, I mean, there's always a risk, you know. Historically, so the high point of UK cinema attendance was 1947, just after the Second World War, when over 1,000 million people a week went to cinema. There was all sorts of reasons for that, because coming out the back of the Second World War, if you imagine at the time, well, particularly there were several factors. Cinema was incredibly popular during the war for a variety of reasons, not least because it was a distraction from the terrible things that were going on. Also, the only way you could see pictures of the war, the news, was at the cinema. There was no television. So cinema was warm, it was comfortable. It was distracting from the terrible thing that was going on. You saw the news, so it was a vital part of the fabric of society at the time. The low point, I guess, was, and then it declined rapidly with the advent of television and the lack of investment that a lot of cinemas put in. So it hit a low in 1984 of about 48 million. Which that saw the opening of the Point in Milton Keynes, which was the first UK multiplex, and that was kind of the point at which admission started to turn around. We're now up to, as an industry, about 160 million a year, so we've more than tripled the business.
Well, this is a bit of a general one. How has the cinema just changed over the years?
The biggest change, perhaps, is the way people consume films, the way people go to the cinema. Again, going back to the peak period, people went to the cinema. It didn't really matter what was on; they just went, and it was about going to cinema. I suppose the big change, and this is why we have smaller screens and more of them, is because people go and see the film. That's what they want to suggest. That the habit of going to the cinema is different now than it was 50 years ago. Projector. So this is our big NEC 2K digital projector. Interesting. So how does it work? It's DLP. DLP. Yeah, for each. It's to do with little mirrors. And then each projector has attached to it on the back there a server Yep. This runs the film. So each server has got all these films here. These are the films currently loaded on this server for this projector. Yeah. The ones in red won't play because they don't have a key. The ones in green will play because they do have a valid key. On the right you can see here there's a playlist loaded. And this is how everything works. It's on a playlist. So here you've got the automation commands, which you've just seen go through when you were in the auditorium. Tabs open, that's curtains open, and then it opens the doors. These are all the individual adverts. These are all the individual advert files. And you've got the coming soon title, and some more commands, and then 2 trailers. So this is the sound rack. So this is the audio processor. So we're currently showing digital 5.1, and then these are the amplifiers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 amplifiers. So we have 7.1 in here, and we also have bi-amped stage speakers. So that's pretty much it really.